Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Najah binti Bakri, and for today, and my matric number is 1181838. Okay, for today, I would like to discuss on the missile of choice. Okay, nowadays there are many cases involved with domiciles. For example, as an example, cases which involve in marriage between two people from different countries, people who have second homes or properties in another country, and many more and more. Right. This usually occurs due to the fact that people can change their domicile. Right. What does it mean by domicile? Okay, domicile according to the law, to the dictionary law of Merriam-Webster, it can be defined as a person's fixed, permanent and principal home for legal purposes. Unlike residence, domicile is where a person official permanent home or where they has a substantial connection, like um from like people who have home in that country. Okay, right. Domicile of a person is important for the purpose of three main areas, which is for individual liabilities in that three main area, which is income tax, investment and employment. However, in Malaysia, domicile becomes important when when occurs when there are a case of divorce between Malaysian citizen and the partner is from another country and his domicile is from another country, and the Malaysian want to file a petition of divorce in Malaysia. Okay, there are several types of domiciles, which is domicile of origin, domicile of choice, domicile of dependence, and domicile of matrimonial. Okay, domicile of origin. This type of domicile are obtained at the birth of the individual and are carried throughout his lifetime, which means that when we are born, our domicile follows our parents. Okay, and this comes in two situations. If a person is born in a wedlock, then his or her domicile is following his father domicile. But if a person is born out of wedlock, his domicile follows his or her mother's domicile, which means that if you are if a person is an illegitimate child, the person's domicile is according to the mother's domicile, right? That is domicile of origin, and it will stick to you for the rest of your life unless if you acquired domicile of choice when you reach the majority age. Okay, next is domicile of choice. Right, domicile of choice is when you are old enough to acquire another domicile, to acquire or to apply domicile from other country, then you will get the domicile of choice. You need to reach the age of majority, and the burden of proof is on the person who asserts that he had obtained the domicile of choice. Okay, next is domicile of independence. Okay, not independence but dependence. Forgive me. Domicile of dependence. Alright. Domicile of dependence can be categorized in three categories. First, the children's category. Second, the women's category. And last, the adopted categories. Alright. First, the women's category. The women's category is woman or wife. When a girl, when a woman is married to a man, then her domicile will follow her husband's until the marriage is dissolved, which means that they are divorced. Okay, then only then her domicile will return to her original domicile, which is her father's domicile. Or the woman, as I said, that if you reach the age of majority, then you can acquire it for domicile of choice. Alright. Lastly, I forgot. Okay, domicile of adopted, which means that an adopted child will follow the adoptive parents' domicile, and if the parents are married, then he or she will follow the adoptive father's domicile. Okay, and the domicile of matrimonial is when you are married to your husband, you will follow his domicile. Okay, but now I want to talk about more on domicile of choice. Okay, domicile of choice can be acquired by individuals whom has reached the majority limits, which is 18 years old. This can be referred under Section 2 of Age of Majority Act 1971, which stated that, subject to Section 4 of the minority of all males and females shall cease and determine within Malaysia at the age of 18 years, and every such male and female attaining that age shall be the age of majority, which means when once you are 18, you are in the age of majority. Thus, this shows that an individual whom had reached the majority age has the right to change his or her domicile by several ways, including marriage. Okay, however, a lot of cases where there are a lot of case of divorce occurred, and most of the individual whom their domicile of origin is Malaysia got married and divorced with with their partner from another country with another country's domicile of origin, right? And they tend to apply for Malaysia's High Court to solve or to entertain their petition for divorce. Okay. Now the question is whether our country has the jurisdiction to entertain this case, right? Okay, first, in answering this question, there are several sections in the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act 1976 which constitutes domicile. For example, Law Reform Act 1976 under Section 3 stated in Section 3 Clause 1, except as is otherwise expressly provided, this Act shall apply to all persons in Malaysia and to all of the persons domiciled in Malaysia but are resident outside Malaysia, which means that this Law Reform Act is applicable for people who live in Malaysia and people whose domicile is in Malaysia and their residency is outside of Malaysia. Okay, and Section 2 or Section 3 Clause 2 of Law Reform Act stated that they need to prove their domicile of origins, that is Malaysia, which means that for the purpose of this, which means that if you want to use this act, you firstly need to exercise. You firstly need to prove that your domicile of origin is in Malaysia. Okay, and for example, we have the case of James Sloan versus Sarala Davis Sloan, where the petitioner, the husband, uh, mm, the husband, John Sloan, his original domicile is in United Kingdom. James Sloan, his original domicile is United Kingdom, and he got married to Sarala, whom her domicile is in Malaysia. Is in Malaysia. Okay, so they got married in 2004, and the husband filed for petition to get divorced in 2009. Okay, the husband in 2009, the petitioner filed a petition for divorce in the family division of the High Court of Malaysia, and in this case, the wife, the respondent, issued that the petitioner has no right to file the petition in Malaysia High Court and submitted that the petitioner had burden of proving the abandonment of the abandonment of the abandonment of the petitioner domicile of origin and the acquisition domicile of choice in Malaysia. And the respondent also argued that the petitioner owns an apartment outside of Malaysia. Hence, the petitioner had not completely relinquished his domicile of origin in UK. However, the petitioner averred an oath that he intends to retain in Malaysia as his domicile of choice and has a permanent job and has become knowledgeable, accustomed and inert with the way of life in Malaysia, and he has no intention of leaving unless the law forces him to do so. And the petitioner argued that his citizenship and nationality had no relevance to the determination of his domicile of choice. Okay, then the court held that dismissing the application with cause. Firstly, the domicile of origin of the petitioner is the UK. And the standard of proof to displace the domicile of origin in favour the domicile of choice goes beyond a mere balance of probabilities. The facts and the evidence on oath by the petitioner had changed his domicile, which means that by taking that oath, the petitioner had already stated his domicile of choice, which is in Malaysia, and this was also decided by referring to the case of Henderson versus Henderson. Alright. Second, the court also held that the fact that the petitioner did not denounce or relinquish his British citizenship was not material or relevant. It is not important. The concept of nationality and the issue of domicile are two different things, two different and separate concepts, which deserve different and separate treatment. Which means that the petitioner he never needed to divest his nationality to show that he has acquired a domicile of choice. And lastly, the court held that both the petitioner and the respondent were domiciled in Malaysia as they got married in Malaysia and lived in Malaysia, and where the said petition was presented, the petition for divorce was presented in Malaysia, right? So the court has the jurisdiction pursuant to Section 48 of the Law Reform Act to entertain the petition for divorce and consequently the power to grant it. So, which means that the court has the power to entertain the petition and has the power to grant it. Thus, in this case, it shows that the petition for divorce and petition or any other person who wish to apply this law need to prove his or her domicile is in Malaysia. That is the importance of proving your domicile in Malaysia. If you want to file divorce in Malaysia, if you want to ask the court, if you want to file for petition of divorce in the High Court of Malaysia. Okay. However, there are several sections which stated that not all case can be entertained by this law, which means that under section 3 clause 3 this act shall not be applied to Muslim or any person who is married under Islamic law or a person who divorced because he convert to Muslim. Right. Next, because they have their own law, they have their own Sharia law. Okay. Next, clause 4 under section 3 of the Law Reform Act 1976, it stated that people of the native of Sabah and Sarawak or any aborigine of Peninsular Malaysia whose marriage and divorce are governed by the native law, then this act are not applicable, which means that if a Sabahan or a Sarawakian got married under their own native law, then this act is not applicable for them. Okay. Right. Next, there are also section 49 clause 1 of the Law Reform Act which stated notwithstanding anything that are contrary to section 48 clause 1 clause C, the court shall have the jurisdiction to entertain proceeding by wife under this part. This act is for the wife. Although the husband is not domiciled or resident in Malaysia, if under clause A, if the wife has been deserted by the husband or the husband has been deported from Malaysia under any law of the time being in force relating to the deportation of person and the husband was before the desertion or deportation is domiciled in Malaysia, then this act is applicable. And if the wife is resident in Malaysia and has been ordinarily resident in Malaysia for a period of 2 years immediately preceding the commencement of the proceedings, which means that the Malaysia's court may entertain this case under these special circumstances. Okay, which means that if the wife is deserted or the husband is deported, and before the deportation the husband was domiciled in Malaysia, then this act is applicable. And if the wife is a resident and ordinarily live in Malaysia, then it also applicable. So in conclusion, Malaysia's court also has the jurisdiction. Malaysia's court has the jurisdiction to entertain case related to domicile, even if the petitioner was married to another resident, although there are not many cases of domicile that occurred in Malaysia. Alright. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.